The dam is about to break. Let's talk about it. Hello Luminous One, welcome to Temple of Akasha. My name is Natasha and this is the home of embodied spirituality. A few announcements before we dive in today. I'm launching my first fully formed course, The 5 Pillars of Self-Love, on the 1st of January 2025. This is going to be a full video course with integration practices and a detailed workbook accompaniment. And as a gift to this community, I'm offering this course on a pre-sale offer. This offer goes live on December 1st at 12 p.m. It's currently only available for my mailing list subscribers, but it will be open to the public soon. My course goes live for £99, and really it could be worth hundreds or even thousands given the level of work and detail and, for me, the profound framework that's been developed to create this course and bring it through. I'm offering it for £99, but I launched it in this pre-sale offer at only £1. Now, the first 50 people that invest in this course in the pre-sale offer will get this course for anywhere between £1 and £79. The sale is set to rise incrementally £2 with every sale made. It's currently at £5 at the time of filming this, so it means by the time it goes to the public, you could get my course that I'm selling for £99 for as little as £5 and at most £79, which is still a significant discount off the total. I will include links to this course sale in the description box so you can access it when it goes live, and I'll also post it on the community tab, so keep your eyes peeled. For any Divine Feminine initiates, I also want to make you aware that the Priestess Society has 2 beautiful workshops coming up this month, plus we'll be offering a free initiation at the end of this month for anyone that feels called to walk the path of genuine union alchemy, and I'll be sharing more details about that in the time to come. But if you feel called to join us inside the Priestess Society, we're going to be doing some beautiful closing down ceremonies for the end of this year and really beginning to open up to the energetics of 2025 and preparing ourselves so that we can come into full fruition of our Dharma and mission for the year ahead. Okay, with all of that done, let's dive into our video today. Now, the title of today's video is intentional. It's what I received as I was receiving the kind of map of this wider weaving that I'm going to be detailing in today's video. So this is an energy update, but this is for a specific cohort of individuals at this point in this now moment. This may be timeless. You may feel called to this video and to the title when it is relevant to your personal journey and evolutionary process. But if it appeals to you now, if it feels as though there's some resonance, it's speaking to a part of your process, then this is for you in this now moment at the time of releasing it. It's not going to speak to everyone, and it's not designed to speak to everyone. There is a certain cohort of individuals, a certain sort of frequency bandwidth that I'm personally moving through, that I also know others in my field are moving through, and I'm speaking to those individuals that resonate with this frequency bandwidth at this point in their evolutionary journey. The title is a little bit of an indication about whether or not that's you. There's no right or wrong. We are all holding different keys and vantage points for the one as the one, and I'm just bringing through my individual vantage point and perspective. Okay, so let's dive into the download and the energies for what is happening alchemically right now for us individually and collectively. I've titled this video, The Dam is About to Break. What I'm referring to with this is the building wave etherically of divine light, grace, abundance, vitality, riches, overflow that has been building spiritually, energetically, and is about to collapse from vibrational potential into matter. This is both an internal shift that's occurring and also will be made manifest externally. So the imagery that I receive with regards to this shift, this timeline leap, is a tsunami of light, grace, abundance, riches. And when I say riches, I don't just mean material, although that is really central to part of this message. For this cohort that I'm speaking to, perhaps like me, you've been experiencing tremendous struggles with finances and security in your material reality. This has been one of the areas you've really been doing a lot of alchemical work around. the frequency of riches that's coming through will undoubtedly manifest as material provision or resource in some way and support. But this is really an embodiment of the richness that comes when we're connected to God. This is where it starts. It's important that our focus is not on the material expression, on the material wealth, on the riches, on the provision that's coming, but actually recognizing the source, making sure that we're not worshipping false idols of materiality, but recognizing that the true wealth we're speaking about here, the true abundance, the true overflow state that may present itself physically as wealth, as divine union, as significant shifts in your physical reality, the source of this and the most important element to recognize is that this is an internal reconfiguration and a deeper communion with God, Goddess, with the source. And it's important to recognize that this is an internal shift that's taking place in order to inform material reality, not the other way around. Now, this is a direct consequence of the inner work process, what I'm speaking to, this bounty, this windfall, this divine windfall, as I've called it in the title. This divine windfall is coming as a consequence of the inner work. It's really important for us to recognize the correlation between our inner landscape and our outer reality, to recognize that we are causing an effect, as Joe Dispenza says, that there is a direct and proportionate response to whatever is going on in terms of coherence, alignment within ourselves and what is reflected in our material reality. They are married as one. There's no separation. What is outside of us is not separate to what is within us. And this inner shift that I'm speaking about is coming as a result of the levels of devotion that you have shown to the inner work process. Now, whatever it is that you have been working towards, and it will be nuanced and for each individual, whatever you have been alchemizing, whatever fears you've been working with, whatever stories, scarcity cycles, whatever areas of lack that you've been alchemizing, and wherever that you experience that mirrored in your reality, it's going to be nuanced for each individual. But what is clear is that this divine windfall is a shift. It's a shift as a result of the dedication to this alchemy work. It's a shift as a result, directly as a result of making space within ourselves, clearing out, emptying out the old struggle stories, the old scarcity cycles, the old fear-based programming, the deconditioning work. It is not by chance, it is not by luck, it is not some fanciful, fantastical, oh, it's just a whim on a whim. No. It's really important we recognize the relationship between our inner and outer world. They are as one. So the work you do within yourself is always, always, always reflected back to you. Whatever we hold at a subconscious level is always reflected in the material reality. No exceptions. That is the nature of this incredibly rich, intelligent, dynamic, reflective reality that we experience here on Earth. So the levels of deconditioning work you've been doing, the clearing out, the alchemy, the letting go, letting God, is what's crucial to this divine windfall coming in. Let's speak about this for a moment. This bounty that I'm speaking of, this divine windfall, is, as I've said already, our direct conscious recognition of the communion with God as an expression of God consciousness. Recognizing the divine spark, the divine seed within us, coming into conscious communion and contact with that. In that recognition, as I mentioned in my last video, love dissolves all lack. As we come into conscious communion with this abundant, infinite, unwavering frequency of unconditional love, divine grace, divine light, the lack, the fear, the scarcity struggles become less compelling. And it is in this communion with this love and this light, this grace, this bounty that we are starting to open ourselves up to as we clear out the old, that we feel able and ready to let go of these struggle stories. When we are severed from this bounty of divine love, of communion with the divine, feeling that we are separate from the divine, that we've been abandoned, isolated from, severed from in some way, we're always going to be seeking other things outside of ourselves to fill that void. But the more we come into direct communion with this knowing, the less we need attachment to those things, the less we grip, the less we hold on. And a really big part of this windfall manifesting and collapsing into form, shifting your reality, augmenting your reality according to whatever your new configuration is within, in accordance with this truth and this alignment, the way that this is going to manifest is going to be dependent on your capacity to let go and let God. Everywhere that you notice that there has been unresolved emotional pain, unresolved wounding, old grudges, storylines, narratives within you that there have been there's been a holding on to, it is really proportionate to your capacity to let this go, to let go and let God. So forgiveness comes up as one of the areas which is really important for this alchemy, especially when we're working with this portal of the heart, which really is our capacity to experience this bounty of divine love in our human experience. Forgiveness is one of the most central and pivotal moments in being able to alchemize the wounding and bring whatever experiences we've gone through back into the embrace of love. So it is really important that if we've been holding on in any area to a story, a habit, an experience we've had, that we move through the full cycle of alchemy, usually ending with some forgiveness or closure or releasing of some kind, surrendering of that experience, surrendering of the pain and the stories we have around that experience, letting them go, letting them move, so that we can make space for this light and this bounty that's incoming. So this kind of theme of cleaning, decluttering, clearing out, letting go is really central to this. I had a wave of inspiration about a week and a half ago to just start clearing everything out. I cleared out bags and bags of clothes and gave them to charity. I've cleared out drawers. I've rearranged so much stuff in my physical reality because there's been this sense of you need to make space for the new. That's mirrored physically. So I'm also finding this with my devices. There's just been storage full on every device, and it's the divine saying it's time to let the old go. So first of all, notice in your reality, is there anywhere where you've kind of been in denial or avoidance of that letting go process, that clearing out process, because that is linked to this process. Anywhere in our field, whether it's internally, externally, that we're holding on to the old stagnant energies that no longer serve us or align with us, the less space there is for this divine bounty to come through, the less space there is for whatever is aligned in the now moment to anchor in our reality. So look at your physical reality, notice if any cleaning, decluttering, clearing out, letting go has been overdue in any area, whether that's your devices, your physical space. And then of course this translates to our inner world too, as I've mentioned, with really coming into states of release, surrender, letting go, dissolving tensions, dissolving tightness, dissolving angers, frustrations, resentments, sadness, grief, letting ourselves feel these things, witness them with love, embrace them, let the energy move, come into states of deeper coherence, deeper forgiveness, deeper compassion, really bring in the soul's perspective to understand that every single hurt, every single trigger, every single area in our life where we experience dissonance is a profound teacher for us. It's an opportunity for us to see, how can I widen my embrace as love in my life? How can I let more love into this experience? How can I let the love that I am pour through me and into my life experience as a result of this dissonance, as a result of this challenge, as a result of this wound or this trauma? Love is the balm, always. Now, it's important to, again, draw attention to what I've mentioned in many other videos, that love is not synonymous with having no boundaries. It's not synonymous with being a doormat. It's not synonymous with letting, your personal needs, values, boundaries go. No, love is synonymous with truth. first and foremost. So when I say honoring love and letting love in, we're also talking about where can I let more truth into my reality? Where can I let truth move me? How can I let more truth be acknowledged in this situation? What truth wants to be acknowledged in this situation? Our experience is not as black and white or as binary as the mind likes us to believe. Oh, this person hurt me and they're bad for that. Well, actually, what tends to be the case more often than not is that, yes, someone may have hurt us. There may have been behavior or conduct that felt disrespectful or hurtful in some way, and there's love there. And the reason we feel the hurt from that experience is because there's love there. And so the truth, if we were talking about a scenario like that, is recognizing that there's hurt and there's love. Can I open to the truth, the wholeness of what's here, and not just become very tunnel visioned and act in binaries, but really acknowledge the whole truth, the whole messy landscape of what it means to be human and divine, the whole messy landscape of feeling multiple things, often paradoxical things at once. Can we acknowledge the whole? Can we come back to the truth? And this is what I mean by the cleaning out, the decluttering, the clearing. It's really clearing out all of these barriers, these guards, these boundaries, these places where we try and shuffle around, avoid, dance around this truth, this core truth that wants to be acknowledged through the heart. And one area that I really want to emphasize in this is how I feel this divine windfall is directly linked to the releasing of the struggle story. Now, this feels very ancestral to me. This is part of the really deep ancestral healing and alchemy that's been taking place through many of us on earth right now. And it is this deconditioning we've been doing, which has been a clearing of the inherited conditioning of our ancestors who have lived through times of tremendous hardship and who were really living in struggle stories, in scarcity, in a lot of fear, and perhaps didn't have the tools, the resources, or the capacity to be able to move out of those states. We have come here as the lineage liberators to be the ones that pattern interrupt that momentum of living from fear and to choose and course correct towards love instead, from love, as love. And so one of the key areas that I feel this shift is taking place is our willingness to surrender the struggle story. So I've mentioned in my last video this profound process I'm moving through with feeling very tangibly the absolute bounty of divine love, grace, abundance, richness, ecstasy even, that has been opening through me for over a year, very tangibly, but it feels like the floodgates are really starting to open now. And what has arisen from this space is just this complete shock and recognition of, oh my goodness, and all this time I've been living in struggle when there has always been so much love and grace available to me, and it's been closer than my own breath, closer than my own heartbeat, closer than the essence of my being, because it is me. I am married to this love. I am this love expressed. It's only these mental constructs and these ideas and these walls, these wounds that create barriers that really create a sense of separation from this love, this loving essence of who we are, this loving awareness. So this divine windfall that I'm speaking about feels very married to our willingness to surrender these struggle stories, to let this go, to let go of the need to guard, to shield, to always be thinking about plan B, to be trying to control or manipulate circumstances from a place of fear to protect ourselves. Can we let all of that go? And can we come back to the essence, the truth of who we are, the love, the innocence of our divine being, of our divine nature? I'm going to be speaking about the return to innocence in a moment, because that's also really, really central to this process. But before I do, I want to speak about the really auspicious astrology that I only became aware of this morning that prompted me to make this video. So I've been feeling this divine wave building, this etheric wave, this etheric bounty, building, this light, this tremendous amount of light that's becoming available to us, through us. And then this morning I listened to Sabrina Lynn from Rewilding for Women. She's a really great evolutionary astrologer. And she mentioned that on the 5th of December, there is a very auspicious astrological placement taking place. And it confirmed everything I've been feeling energetically is also mirrored within the astrology and the cosmic unfolding. So essentially, on the 5th of December, there is a Cassini point happening, which is, in this instance, essentially the 5th of December falls halfway through Mercury's retrograde. And halfway through Mercury's retrograde, it's conjunct the sun, which means that there is illumination, that when we go through a retrograde, we're kind of revising, we're revisiting themes, we're sort of deepening in our understanding of what we've just moved through, what we've missed, so that we can come back into kind of aligned action, forward momentum in more integrated states. There's illumination, there's clarity emerging. And this particular placement is happening in alignment with the Great Attractor. Now, the Great Attractor is an actual gravitational mass point, which is essentially pulling in galaxies, including our own Milky Way. So this particular kind of cosmic constellation on the 5th of December is auspicious because the Great Attractor is symbolic of our capacity to attract, to magnetize, to really call in through the power of our innate being, our authentic being, all that is divinely aligned for us, all that is has been divinely assigned to us in this life. It is an incredible point of manifestation or creation. And on the 5th of December, this placement I'm speaking about is opposite Jupiter. Jupiter is expansion, it's luck, it's good fortune. So we've got this magnetic energy that we're moving into on the 5th, and it's married with this Jupiter placement. And essentially what I understood from Sabrina's podcast, and she goes into this in much more detail, I really recommend watching that, I'll put a link to it below. Essentially, she's speaking to what I'm feeling, that this etheric wave, this divine bounty that's been building, if we can really get our ducks in a line, we can stay true to the course, stay in faith, stay in trust, clear out the clutter, get ourselves open and receptive. This is an auspicious time for this to start collapsing from vibrational potential, waveform potential into matter, to have it collapse into our physical experience, to see what we've been feeling building. And I know I'm not alone in feeling this etheric wave, this bounty of divine light and divine grace building. It's coming. I mentioned in my last video the union architecture that has become really the foundation of all of my inner work that I've been moving through for 7 years, and that this year I'm feeling a repetition of the cycling and the spiraling that was happening last year, that also at this exact point I just was about to receive a divine windfall in the form of my beloved coming into my life. The same architecture is playing out again because we're moving in cycles and spirals, but deepening in those cycles and spirals. It's happening again. I know this architecture. I've been living from this architecture for 7 years. I understand within my being what's happening when I feel these energies. I understand the wisdom and the guidance I'm receiving. I know that what I'm speaking about is going to happen. It's sort of prophetic, but it's not really prophetic. It's just the truth of the weaving unfolding. So really this week that I'm posting this is a tremendous week to really devote yourself to the soul work, to really go all in, to get really clear and cognizant of what are the blocks, where are the fears still very present within me, what are they anchored in, what core wounds are those fears anchored in. Can I bring love to these wounds, and can I let these fear stories, these struggle stories go to make space for the bounty of love and grace that is actually infinitely available to me, but I have to be open to receive it. And that to be open to receive it, I've got to make space for it. I can't be both loyal to fear and loyal to love at the same time. I've got to choose one. This is the time to choose to go all in with love. And of course, it's so needed on the planet right now. It is no coincidence that this bounty and this divine windfall of light and love that I'm speaking about is becoming available to us, through us, because we've been doing the work, and also because we're receiving tremendous amounts of spiritual support. when we look at the world stage, there is so much disorder, dissonance, chaos, and it feels as though humanity's trajectory and, capacity for organic sort of evolution is really hanging in the balance. It's no coincidence that this divine windfall is coming in now, and it really comes through us. We are the conduits for this grace to be experienced, anchored on earth. That's why the soul work is so important. Holding the course, not giving in to the scarcity, the struggle stories, the old narratives, the conditioning, becoming aware that that is just conditioning. They're just thought forms. They're just habituated feelings. Hold them with neutrality, with loving awareness, and come back to the heart of truth. Now, speaking about truth, I want to come back to this point about the return to innocence. This divine bounty that I'm speaking about in today's video is intimately married with the return to innocence. That through our devotion to this alchemy work and orientating ourselves towards love, we are restoring the purity and innocence of the heart, the unguarded heart, that the world is so hungry for. When we choose to orientate ourselves towards love, what we are saying, doing, embodying, vibrating is that I no longer choose to align myself with or maintain these barricades, these guards, these walls that I've built within myself to protect my heart and therefore shield it from the world. Less comes in, less also comes out and emanates out from us. When we choose to align with the innocence of the heart, with authenticity, we're choosing to dissolve these barriers, these boundaries. We're choosing to really devote ourselves to truth, to love, and to restoring this innocence. And this innocence that I'm speaking about, I see it as the most pristine, beautiful light emanating from the center of the heart. This is the return of our childlike wonder, our play, our imagination, our vulnerability, our capacity for intimacy, our capacity for deep communion with each other, with the earth, and with the divine. When we restore our innocence, we are restoring the heart of who we are. And it is the severing from this innocence that has descended the world into the chaos we see today. Our inability to meet this world of duality with love's embrace and instead shield ourselves from it, barricade ourselves to protect ourselves from this world, that has severed us from this innocence of the heart. And of course, when we're severed from this deep communion, we feel the tremendous pain of abandonment, of severing, of feeling outside of love's embrace, as I said in my last video. This shift, this return to innocence that I'm speaking of, this is the shift that changes the world. It's changing the world right now in real time. And the more we can connect to this purity of heart, and we choose to move through the world no longer as the one that needs to guard up and to barricade and to wear masks and facades, but actually to say, you know what, my loyalty is to love, to God, to truth, to innocence, to restoring authenticity, vulnerability, that the richness that I'm speaking about, that's where that richness starts from. It starts from that immense wealth that comes when we are connected to the source of love and we are connected to the heart of truth. That's where the richness starts from. It doesn't start with money, it doesn't start with material possessions, it starts with the bounty of the heart. This is what we are restoring right now. It's being restored through us as we choose to let go of the baggage, the stories that have been perpetuated over millennia on this planet and have descended us so much into forgetfulness that we're on the brink of annihilating ourselves as a species on this planet. The return to innocence is here. And this is why this surrender, this letting go and letting God in letting these old stories, these old ways shed is so important. because it is this return to innocence that is really going to allow this bounty of divine grace and love to be felt, to be rippled out into the world, to move mountains. And the last thing I want to mention here is that it is the feminine principle. I'm not speaking about women, I'm speaking about the feminine principle within all of us, the mother principle within all of us. It is the feminine mother principle that leads this revolution of love. It is the feminine mother principle within all of us that catalyzes our return to innocence. It is the feminine's devotion to softening the hard places, devoting ourselves to love, devoting ourselves to nurturance and embracing life, embracing all with love, to collapsing conditioning, to really being so fiercely devoted to serving love in every way. It is this feminine aspect of our consciousness that strives for these things, this deep union, this deep communion. It is the feminine mother principle within us all that leads this pioneering pathway for Earth to move into organic ascension, organic evolution, to anchor the new Earth. This is also reflected in the feminine beings who align with the true twin flame architecture of self-mastery and divine union, anchoring that within and in sacred partnership. These are the beings that will lead this revolution. This is not a hierarchical thing. This is simply the truth that there are pioneers in every realm, every industry, every area, and that the pioneers of the heart are the feminines devoted to this path of union architecture, restoring the union architecture, the true union architecture, not this false twin flame narrative about Disney love stories and attachments and codependency and trauma bonding. True twin flame architecture is about self-mastery and communion with God first and foremost, always. And unfortunately, the heart of that truth has been so lost in the new age obsession with finding Disney love. And part of my mission is to restore this truth alongside my sister Hannah. This is what we do inside the Priestess Society. This is our mission. And generally this is the female counterpart, not always, but it is generally the female counterpart in a sacred union partnership that leads this descent into the heart space, that leads this process towards deeper communion. It is her willingness and her capacity to commune with the non-physical, to commune with love, to commune as love, to be the one that softens, that is receptive, open to these divine states that I'm speaking about, open to this bounty. She becomes the portal to start weaving in our connection to the subtle again. And generally it's the masculine principle, again, not saying specifically male or female, but it's the masculine principle within all of us that's more concerned with the material reality. And in terms of our humanity, that's concerned with the material, the tangible, the practical, the linear, the logical, the left brain. So it's the feminine pole, the mother principle within all of us that leads this revolution. So it's really important to examine our relationship with the mother principle and the feminine principle within all of us when we're doing this work, and we're really talking about the return to innocence and restoring that within ourselves and on Earth. It is the return of the mother. It is the return of the goddess, the return of the mother through us all, through Earth's own alchemy and energetic process that is going to transform the world. Not in hierarchy above Father God, but in union with. That is true temperance. That is the true architecture that has been distorted on this planet and that we are restoring now. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I hope this message resonates for those that it was intended for. I hope you give yourself the grace and the space this week to digest some of what I've shared, test it, feel it against your own experience, really feel into what your process is asking of you. Be loyal to that knowing of the soul and know that the dam is about to break. The divine windfall is coming. All of the hard work is worth it. Always, it's never missed. Nothing is ever missed in the eyes of the one. Know that. Even if there are no seemingly physical changes, always know that everything that you do from a place of authenticity and orientation towards truth and love is always felt in the web. It's always witnessed by the one. It's always registered. It's always alchemizing and shifting you internally, and that will inevitably shift your external reality. I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. I so look forward to joining you again in the next transmission.